All right, all right. If financial stress, anything money-wise, when money gets tight or the markets crash like they are today in certain places, well, they've been crashing for a while. What do you do? Well, if eating is your go-to, if that is one of your biggest triggers, is feeling financial insecurity, then I'm here to help, and we're going to stop this train in its path before it turns into a massive recessionary explosion of binge eating in in the course of the next few weeks or months ahead. It's really understandable that financial stress could lead to stress eating, because if you think about it, in the modern world, financial fear is the equivalent of massive unsafety. If so much of our survival these days is based on the ability that we have to earn or to have money in the account in order to pay for the things that we need to survive, the roof over our heads, the food in our bellies, and then that is threatened. It is possibly one of the biggest fears that we experience in the modern world, and particularly at the moment with things as they are, and the future looking increasingly uncertain on all sorts of different levels. Any wonder we should find ourselves trying to find a way to navigate and be with all of that fear without losing our minds. So today's Live at Lunch, what we're going to do, I'm going to give you 4 practical steps that you can get cracking on immediately. This isn't woo-woo. I'm not just giving you theory today. We're actually going to get super practical. You can pull out your pen and paper now, and we're going to start doing some action work. This is the kind of thing I would be doing if I was working with a client and we were working through any kind of fear, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and God forbid, panic. Because when we're in a state of panic, what do we really need? What do we really need? We need to stay as calm as we can. We need to slow things down. And of course, what most of us do is we go to the opposite. Everything gets faster. Our thinking gets faster, heart rate's faster, the whole capoodie. And when we're thinking fast and we're hot-headed, we don't make good decisions. Now, we want to be making the best decisions we can. We want to feel grounded, calm, and confident as we go through any panic or fear, particularly financial. So we really want you making some good decisions. So how do we get there? Okay, so we're going to roll you through the 4 steps that you can start taking immediately. Before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, my name's Helen Bennett. I'm a coach who specializes in helping people identify what's driving non-hunger eating. In this case, we're talking very specifically about fear as a trigger for non-hunger eating. And then once we've identified the root of it, then we're going to work into how to solve this problem. And as I've already said, financial stress isn't just financial stress. It's actually major fear about the safety of our future. It is a primal instinct for us to try and navigate and get out of an unsafe place. And oftentimes we've been reaching for food to do that in a very understandable way. So I'm somebody who can help you identify what causes non-hunger eating and then give you the tools and the theory to help you move from that place through lots of action and repetition into a place of freedom. So if you struggle with stress eating, emotional eating, binge eating, you name it, comfort eating, then I'm your girl and I'm going to help you today with this specific thing. So let's dive in, shall we? What are the 4 steps? So the first thing we want to do, if we want to slow everything down, the best thing, and it's the tool that is free and always available to you, is to take a big, deep belly breath. Now, I'm not asking you to go and do 10 minutes of meditation. I imagine if your head's spinning and you're in a deep space of panic or fear, it's very difficult to do that. What we want to do is just constantly anchor ourselves in those moments of fear and train ourselves until we can do this automatically to just stop everything when you catch it and take a deep, nourishing belly breath. Okay. Now, once we've done that, this is the first step. If you are feeling fear, maybe you're somebody like me who is an investor currently watching all the hard work and all the savings and all the investments just go astronomically off the cliff. Then what is the first thing you do? No, it's not panic. The first thing you do is take a deep, nourishing breath. And then we look and say, okay, let's feel this fear. Let's be with this fear. We don't, with uncomfortable or scary emotions like this one, We never want to dismiss it and pretend it's not there. And we never want to make it diminish it by thinking it's silly to feel that way. It's not silly. It's completely understandable. It's as primal to feel this fear as, you would if you heard hunger, if you heard thunder, big loud noise or something like that when you're out in the wild. These are things that are wired in us to respond to. So our nervous system is responding completely appropriately because it wants to keep us safe from whatever danger is out there. So first, we're just going to feel that fear. Now, I'll just ask you a question. Where do you feel it? Where do you feel it? Is it in your chest? Can you feel your heartbeat thumping? Do you feel tension anywhere? Is it in your belly? Is it like butterflies and grumbling? Butterflies in our tummy, that kind of feeling. Do you feel a bit sick? Do you feel a bit nauseous? Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your head? Where does fear sit physically for you? So that's one, just out of interest. It's very intriguing to see how these emotions show up differently in our bodies. And our work through this whole food freedom experience is to get intimately familiar and connected with the emotions that we're experiencing so that we can start to experience them without running from them, give them a name, and move through them. So first, we've just got to give attention to the tension, as Dr. Gabor Mate would say. So let's give that fear a little bit of attention. Just be with it. Just allow it in. Just be like, hey, fear, I can feel you're there. And I'm not going to try and push you away. Let's just be with this fear right now. So notice where it is in your body. And then notice what the story is that it's trying to tell you. So we've got the physical. Now we know what it's physically doing. We know the name of it. It's fear. For you, it might be a different name. Panic, anxiety, terror, right? So give it a name. But we'll use fear for this one. So, hey, fear, I can see you there. I can feel you. I feel you in my body. And now we want to look at what is the story that fear is telling you. So you might say, oh, no, but the story's real. It's okay. It doesn't matter if it is actually true. Let's just hear what the thoughts are that are running around in your head. So every emotion is connected to a physical imprint and a thinking imprint. So we're going to get really interested and curious as to what the story is. So what I'd love you to do with that pen and paper is, if you're watching this in the replay, because I don't think anybody's here right now live, press pause and actually just write down every single thought that is rolling around your head, that is freaking you out. And if you really want to play this game full out, play those thoughts all the way to fruition. I'm worried that the stock market, I'm petrified, I'm going to lose all my investments. Okay, then what? Well, then if I lose all my investments, then I'm going to, blah, 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 and then eventually, and then you run forward, and then I'm going to die alone on the pavement with nobody. That's usually where I'm laughing, but it's not funny. These are the kind of fears that can keep us awake at night. And it's actually great to give them a moment to speak to you. Now imagine if fear was a little boy or little girl. So if there's fear standing in front of you, she's, 6, 7, 8 years old. And fear is in that space. And what would you do as an adult? If there was a little child in front of you experiencing fear, what would you do? What would you say to that fear? Well, first you'd probably go up and give fear a big old hug, wouldn't you? And you'd probably say, it's okay, I know you're scared. I'm here now. What's wrong? Right? You'd probably ask. And then hopefully they would say, I'm worried about this, I'm scared of that, and there's a monster under the bed, whatever, right? And I don't have kids, so I could be getting this all wrong. Just assuming. Right? So let's get the story out. Let's get the fear out. Let it have a voice. Now, the absolute best way to do this is actually, by yourself is great, but you know what? One of the best ways to do this, and I said this in my last live when we we're talking about the food police and the role that a partner can actually play, which is super beneficial, and that's to actually share it with somebody who cares. Share it with somebody who knows you, not so they can fix it, not so they can tell you what to do next. We don't want action yet, and we certainly don't want anybody trying to solve it before we've had an opportunity to express it. So if somebody's around that knows and cares about you, you can actually just go to them and say, oh my God, Jane, I'm experiencing so much fear right now around this money thing, right? I'm not asking for solutions. I just want to get it out of my system because I know on the other side of that, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to be able to take action. So This is what I'm worried about. Bah, 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 and then this, and this, and then what happens if this, and if that happens, then I just let it all out. And it might start turning into anger. It might turn into tears. It doesn't matter. Let's be with that emotion, right? We've got to let out all the stuff that's been rumbling around inside you. Just let it all out. No matter how silly it sounds, just get it out of your system, right? Okay. Now, once it's out of your system, what you'll notice, it's like the adult in you starts to see the wood for the trees. Now it's been heard. It's been heard and it's been respected and valued. And now we can move on to the action step. So again, we're not asking for somebody else to give us any input yet, although we might, and we'll get to that. But for now, we just want to get to the other side of the story. Because usually what happens when we get all of our worries and fears and anxieties out of our head, verbally, ideally, you can even use your phone and record a voice note talking to yourself about what's going on. Because what's great is when we do that, we get the real energy of it, the kind of unprocessed, unfiltered energy, just straight, oh, this is what I'm thinking. Doesn't matter what it sounds like, right? And once that's out, what you will feel is a kind of relief. It's like when the pot blows and then eventually, it's just bubbling away again. Great. So now we're at a calmer space. Now we've dialed that energy of fear down. Now what you'll find is that wise adult in you starts to come up with what the next step is. And whatever that step is, it'll start to come through. Okay, well, let me do this. Or what if I phone that person? Or what if I have to? But it's amazing. We've got to get that release out. It's a bit like on the other side of a big old cry. What do we feel? A bit of peace, right? And we start to see the woods for the trees. And we feel like we can get on with things again. It's not necessarily a nice feeling because it's quite emotional. And you might feel at the other side of these emotional expressions, you might feel a bit of an emotional hangover and exhausted. That's the power of all this energy that's showing up as emotion inside us, It's cheesy, but emotions, energy in motion. Let's get it out. And then you'll start to experience, you'll start to get some clear idea of what the next thing is to do. Now we get into the action step. Now, sometimes the best thing to do is just get to bed, get a good night's sleep, and have another look tomorrow with a clear mind. Sometimes that is the best thing to do. But sometimes you'll get a really clear, okay, let me just send that email. That's at least one thing that I can do that will help me feel a bit better, or help me feel like I have agency or control in the situation. If you're in a real financial pickle, maybe it's time to be facing into the things that need to be solved, or the bills that need to be paid, or the financial person that needs to be contacted, or whatever the case may be, and start to deal with it, or whatever it is, or the items that need to go up onto Facebook Marketplace. Fine, you've been meaning to do it for ages. But first, let's get that energy of fear out. Then you'll see the action steps start to make sense. Okay? If they don't, we're going to get onto that in the last step of this. But let's assume you're at a place where you're starting to feel a bit better. Now, the second piece of this equation was actually the third. So the first step is feel the fear. Feel the fear. Feel it. And then express it. And with that, you'll start to come to a place of action. Now what we want to do is we want to nourish. So it's feel, express, and now let's get to nourishment. So what do we need? What do we need that would actually help us nourish ourselves, slow everything down, and get that lovely, calm, confident head moving in the right direction of that action? And I say nourish as the third step because it's really important. What we can do in a space of fear is we can jump so quickly to action, we're not taking care of ourselves. And actually, this is when we need to double down. Now, what does nourishment look like? Hey ho, sometimes it actually looks like eating a really big, nourishing, grounding meal. The reason we reach for food when we're stressed is because food is actually calming, or eating food is actually calming. It slows our heart rate down. It sends all that energy from the periphery into the digestive system. In Afrikaans, they say, maag is vol, oog is toe. That means when your tummy's full, your eyes are shutting down. Excellent. We kind of want to bring that energy from a high to here. Now, you might say, well, Helen, that's emotional eating. I'd say, yeah, it's a very conscious choice, right? And if you can take that power and that choice and do a tummy check-in. If you don't know what they are, check the link in the description for the masterclass. There's a whole training on how to do tummy check-ins. Check in with your tummy. What is it that I need? And your tummy is going to give you some really good information. And usually your tummy, when it's really being listened to, doesn't ask for junk food and it doesn't ask to go binging. It actually is usually saying, right, let's get a really good meal inside us that will ground us and help us focus and have energy for all the action that we need to take. Because at this point, there's probably things that need to be done. And there's nothing like fueling yourself with a really nourishing meal, whatever your tummy's asking for. And usually will ask for something very nourishing, as in nutrient dense. Like probably it's going to ask for some meat, some carbs, and some fats weirdly in this like really healthful way. And that's so cool when it does that. And sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. But listen, right? And I tend to err on the side of having a really good meal when I'm feeling stressed, so that I can slow everything down. I can benefit from that slowdown in energy, and then I can just execute on all the things that need to be done. All right. So then we're into the action taking step. But before you take action, first things first, nourish. Now, nourish may not look like food. You might have had a beautiful meal already, or you've already overeaten and you're full. Excellent. Next step. Water. Let's get back to our Super 7. If you don't know what that is, a few videos ago I did one. It's about feeling great in your summer body, and I talk about the Super 7, and I even give you my minimum effective dose of my Super 7, which is something I try to do every single day. So the first one on the Super 7 is air. So we've already taken that big deep breath, beautiful belly breath. Second, water. Good Lord, are you thirsty right now? Let's get some beautiful, good quality water in you. Maybe even a pinch of salt for a little bit of extra energy and electrolytes. Awesome. Crack on. Third, sleep. Please set your alarm. Make sure you get into bed early. In times of panic and fear, we need to be getting our rest prioritized. We will die a lot faster from lack of sleep than we will from lack of anything else other than water and air. Okay. And then the others are things like get out in the sun. Make sure you getting some social connection. Get a good sweat in the day. We all know there's nothing like a good sweat. Now, this is when you might want to do more of a cardio workout, because it actually gets some of the like toxic thinking out of our system. And we get that real, And the other thing about doing a nice bit of cardio is oftentimes our mind's wandering. The repetition of cardio is a great way to get our mind kind of sorting through things and coming up with solutions, right? I also find these things in the shower. We could maybe add that to the list. Have a shower. And sometimes we find solutions there, right? So getting a bit of a sweat on, reaching out for some social connection, absolutely imperative. Sunshine, fresh air, sleep, and water. And what was the other one? I can't remember the last one. No, I think I've got them all. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Watch the Super 7 video. So take care of yourself. You've got to nourish yourself, not just with food, but with the other things that are absolutely core and essential. Essential, not a maybe. Essential for our mental, physical, and emotional health and happiness. So let's get ourselves grounded in those Super 7 when we're going through hard times. Because what we often do is we put ourselves second. We're in so much of a panic, we tend to go, I'll attend to myself later. Assuming you are not being chased by a lion, or assuming death is not imminent, pause long enough to unapologetically prioritize yourself. And that unapologetic bit I got from a client, and I bloody love it. So I'm stealing it. Unapologetically prioritize yourself, nourish yourself. It is more important now than ever to be well nourished. Even if it's the minimum, at least get the minimum done. And the minimum can take 15 minutes. Combined with a good meal, you're styling, right? And if you have to order something to make it happen fast, do it. But get a good nourishing meal in if that's what your tummy needs. Right, what's the last step on the list? The last step is this may well be the time to reach out for some additional support. So I'm always a big fan of social connection. You'll see I'm bringing it in all over the show, relying on others, speaking to others, expressing ourselves to others, being real with others. You don't have to hide that you're in fear. It's better to share it with somebody you love. It's actually very helpful. But now there might be a situation that you're in where you're going to need some extra support. And when you think about the stock market, it's always when there's the big dip, we think, oh man, I wish I'd bought in, I wish I'd invested at that point. This is exactly the time when you are struggling, when you are really in a crisis, that investing, ironically, is the best thing you can do. Invest in the help and support you need that will help you move through this as quickly as you can. Okay? So that might look like a coach, a therapist, a financial advisor, whatever the case may be. And if you can get it for free, great. But for the most part, the best thing to do, and it's counterintuitive, but just think about the stock market. If the prices were low and things were at their lowest, wouldn't you want to be buying in? The same thing here. Now, obviously, it needs to be reasonable. You don't want to cause yourself more financial stress, but just think, is there's a skill or support that could help me move through this faster and offset any damage quickly? Wouldn't it be worth the investment? Because if the return on investment can get you through this fear and out of this financial crisis quickly, then do it. So there's action taking. And now we're going to another level deep where we say, this might be the time to start looking at professional support or advice. Now, whether that's, therapy or coaching, or whether we're looking at financial advice or whatever the case may be, or somebody who's really bloody good at selling things online, who will make it all happen a lot faster so you can pay those bills quickly, whatever. Let your brain be creative. And one of the best ways to do that is to simply ask the question, how could I 10x the speed at which I'm feeling better again and stable and safe again? What would it take to speed this up by 10 times to get these results 10 times as fast? Whatever's on your action list. And if it requires a little financial investment, do it, because the benefit on the other side of that is that deep feeling of calm and peace. Nobody can stay in a space of stress forever. It's one of the biggest problems in the modern world. Anyway, blah, 20 minutes in. I do try and keep these to 15, but I'm so passionate that it's very hard. A little bit of an advertising break before we wrap up. I am launching a new course, the Food Freedom Foundations. It's a 4-month course. You can do it online or with support. That will be launching on the 28th of this month, April 2025. I haven't got a sign-up page for it yet, but registrations will be open within the next week or two. If you'd like to be notified as soon as registrations are open, you can just pop me an email. All the information's in the description below. Just write the word foundations as a subject line. You don't have to tell me anything else in the email. I'll know what it is, and I'll make sure that the minute registrations are open, that you will be the first to know. Why do you want to be the first to know? Because if you sign up before the 28th of April, you get early bird discount, and you also get 100% money back guarantee. So what am I saying? I'm saying if you don't get results in 4 months, if you don't significantly and measurably decrease your emotional eating, your stress eating, your blowout binges, your comfort eating, if you are not significantly decreasing that in 4 months, and you've done the work, then full money back guarantee, right? I love results-based coaching, and I'm not here to just, spout awesome things on YouTube. I want you to take action, and I want you to get the results. I want you to start to feel and experience the sweet taste of food freedom. It is so glorious. So if you're somebody who's enjoying these videos and you're tired of just listening to them, you actually want to take action, then this is a 16-week, very structured program where we build one thing at a time in a very specific manner so that you can build one skill on top of each other, and you just start practicing them all, and that beautiful flywheel of food freedom momentum really starts to build. So I'll be telling you more about that in the weeks to come, but if you're like, hell yeah, let me know as soon as it's available, I will. Just send me an email, info@helenbennett.co, and the word foundations, and I will get that. I will make sure that you're contacted ASAP so you can get all the benefits of the early bird discount and the 100% money back guarantee. All right, that is it for today. So let's just do a little recap. You're feeling huge financial stress at the moment for whatever reason. The markets are down, your bank account is down, and it is getting scary. So first things, just take a deep breath. Anytime you're going to use this tool, just get back to the breath. That slows everything down. All right, let's feel the fear. We know the name of this. Let's feel it. Where does it sit in your body? Next thing, what is the story that's driving? What is the story in your head? Get it all out of your system. Verbally is ideal, or writing it down can be super helpful, but get it out. Pause long enough to do this. Prioritize yourself. Prioritize this. Otherwise, the next thing you know, you're going back to that default automatic pilot of reaching for food because it helps escape all of these horrible feelings, right? So do this work. Prioritize it, even if it takes 5 minutes, right? Then you'll start to see action steps and solutions are starting to come up for you. Great. Now, prioritize yourself by nourishing yourself. Let's get back to our Super 7. Just jump outside, fresh air, sun on your skin, tell somebody you love them, drink a glass of water, make sure you've got a good meal in your belly, something nice and nourishing, And if you've got time in the day, make sure that you've got the sweat in And most importantly, muy importante, por favor, put an alarm on your phone if you need to. What time you're going to bed tonight. You need to prioritize that sleep. In times of stress, we can end up doom scrolling just as a way of trying to stay away from those feelings. Let's get to bed. Let's prioritize rest so you can get up again and activate your action plan. And if you don't have an action plan, or if you are feeling overwhelmed, or if you just don't know what to do, or if you've realized that you can actually employ somebody who can help you get there faster so that you don't have to feel this fear for weeks or months or more, do it. Invest when things are at their lowest, not when everything is going well. This is the time that you need support more than anything else. All right. That's my summary. Have a beautiful Thursday or Monday. Oh my God, it's Monday because I moved the day. Have a wonderful week further. I don't think I've got anything else to say. So adios, everybody. Feel free to pop your questions in the comments for a future live. Happy to make your concern, your challenge, the theme of the next one. All right. Adios. I'm out of here. Bye.